Let's continue our conversation with Patrick J. Buchanan. Pat, constitutional crisis?
Well, we have a president of the United States who says I'm not going to enforce the laws that require me to basically deport and remove from society and send back where they came from people who have broken into our country and broken our laws and are working illegally and are here illegally. I'm just not going to enforce the law. I think, yeah, you have something of a constitutional crisis. I think what Congress has got to do is what it can do to contain and control a rogue president. I mean, I don't believe that, impeachment is running down a rabbit hole. You don't have the votes for it, and you don't want to put Joe Biden in there. But I think I would agree that what the president has done is de facto an impeachable act. That doesn't mean that the Congress should immediately move to impeach him, but it's very difficult to see how there's any comity, any union, or any agreement in the next 2 years. I think, again, that the main function of this Congress is going to be have to contain and control Barack Obama until his presidency terminates.
And, Pat, the president does not want to compromise on this. In fact, to hear his spokesman, the president takes pride in being characterized as lawless by Republicans. Let's take a listen to what Josh Earnest had to say the other day.
You know, we've heard this kind of rhetoric about lawlessness from the House Republicans for some time. I know that their most recent statement referred to Emperor Obama. You know, the fact of the matter is, the president is somebody who is willing to examine the law, review the law, and use every element of that law to make progress for the American people. And that is, and if that is something that Republicans are critical of, then that's, maybe a criticism that the president wears with a badge of honor.
Sounds almost inflammatory, does it not?
Well, look, yes, it does, and especially, J.D., when you consider it's Barack Obama who said he did not have the legal or constitutional authority to do this. If he did have that authority, why did he wait until after the election to do it? Why didn't he do it 6 years ago, 4 years ago, 2 years ago? The answer is he doesn't have the authority. He realizes he's not going to be able to get this Congress to do it, so he's going ahead, and like a dictator, he's doing it himself and says, impeach me and be damned. So my view of this is that the Congress should act in such a way, really, to contain and control him until the end of his presidency.
Pat, you, of course, served as communications director for Ronald Reagan, so you've advised presidents before. What would you be telling this president today if he came to you asking advice?
I would say, Mr. President, if you do this, this is going to be your legacy. And you believe it's going to be a good legacy, but I can tell you this, you yourself said you will be breaking the law and violating the Constitution. So that's going to stick. That's going to be a stigma around you. And I'll tell you this, Mr. President, when some problems arise from these folks whom you're given an executive amnesty to in this country, people are going to turn and say that happened because the President of the United States gave them a blanket pardon, and the President of the United States would not enforce the laws of the United States. So you may feel that this is going to be treated as some kind of emancipation proclamation, but I don't think it is, Mr. President. I mean, look, J.D., what Ronald Reagan did was very legal in the amnesty of 1986. I was in the White House, and it was all done according to Hoyle. But has anybody praised Ronald Reagan for that? Do they praise him? And here we have something where the president's not acting legally, and you're talking, 4 million, 5 million, I don't know how many million folks this is going to deal. He doesn't know how many. By what authority does he decide 4 or 5 million get amnesty and 4 or 5 million don't? Is there something in the law that says that's the right figure? There's nothing in the law. He has no law to back up what he's doing.
Pat Buchanan, this is a day that a lot of us have been concerned about for a long time. We thank you for your assessment, as always. We appreciate your time here on America's Forum.
It's always a pleasure, J.D.
Thank you, sir. You heard Pat Buchanan. We want to know what you think. Should the president grant amnesty to illegals? Go to newsmax.com/poll to cast your vote. Again, our website, newsmax.com/poll. That's the way you can weigh in today here at Newsmax.com and on Newsmax TV. Obviously, there is much more to talk about. Could there be riots in Ferguson following the announcement of the grand jury? Bernie Carrick will weigh in on that as America's Forum continues for this fateful Thursday here on